Like your meals, do you? Enjoy what you got yesterday?
It's not fair, my being victimised because the work release was cancelled. That wasn't my fault.
I don't give a damn about that. All I want is the money you owe me. And if I don't get it, you're going to be sorry. Real sorry.
Well, then, I'd better give you what I owe you, hadn't I?
She as good as condoned the fact that the inmates were using the work release program for their own means, all because she was personally involved with Reynolds. Now, I could...
Swallow it! Swallow it! I said swallow it! Swallow it!
How disgusting! On your feet! Well, it didn't take you long to show your true colours, did it?
I wanted her to taste it first, just in case she tried to poison me again.
I should have poisoned you when I had the chance.
On your way, Gaffney.
Welcher.
And I want that cleaned up by the time I get back.
That was pretty stupid, White.
What was I supposed to do? I reported her once and nothing was done about it. I didn't want her to poison me again.
Well, what's wrong with it this time?
Nothing. Except I wouldn't feed it to a dog.
You're in enough trouble as it is, White. I wouldn't make it any worse for yourself. Especially not with the other women.
Just didn't feel like eating that slop, that's all. But you didn't even have any breakfast, Dor. And that mince was the best we had for ages. There wasn't even any gristle.
Well, the smell was enough to turn anyone off.
Listen, honey, if you're not feeling okay, you should report to the sick bay.
Look, I put on some of that weight I took off, okay?
Bryant, report to me in an hour. I've got a job for you.
How nice to be needed.
Don't push me, Bryant, or you could find yourself back in isolation. And why aren't you on kitchen duty?
I was just on my way, Miss Bennett.
Well, you've got a strange sense of direction.
How'd you get on with you know who doing you know what?
The next time I get a minute alone with her, she's going to cop it, so help me.
You should be grateful there won't be a next time, Gaffney. You didn't do too well this time.
She owes me.
Owes you what?
She owes all of us for snitching and getting us taken off the factory scheme. How else have the government found out about it?
Come in.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, Meg. Please sit down. I feel I owe you an explanation for last night.
Not necessarily.
Thank you for that. But I must hear myself say it, or I'll begin to believe the lie, too. For the past few days, I seem to have done nothing but deny that Andrew and I have been having a relationship. When you have to lie to protect your career and your position, it doesn't say much for either. It certainly doesn't say much for me.
Erica, you're entitled to your privacy.
Not when it starts to interfere with decisions that affect others.
And that's what happened.
I'm only human. Or at least that was what I was beginning to think. No, of course I had no idea that Andrew was involving the women in anything underhand. We both wanted the project to be a success. When I found out what was happening, he promised it wouldn't happen again. So I decided to let the women continue working there under that proviso. Then Kay White was arrested, and someone reported the whole incident to the department. It actually was Andrew who suggested I call off the project. And with the police investigating the embezzlement and his company going bankrupt, there was very little else I could do. Come in.
There's been some trouble in isolation, Mrs. Davidson, between Gaffney and White. There's nothing serious, but I thought you should know about it.
Well, how did that happen? I thought she was being watched.
Yes, well, Miss Bennett and I were talking at the time.
I see. Well, White is not to be left alone with anyone. And if the staff wish to talk, I suggest they do that in the staff room.
Mrs. Davidson, the women will do anything to get at White, no matter how carefully they're watched.
Then we'll have to give them something else to think about, won't we?
Oh, come on, Dor. It was all I could lay me hands on, and I did make it myself.
I don't want it, Lizzie.
But you gotta get something into you. And Kev loves you the way you are.
Will you leave me alone?
Seems a pity to waste it.
Oh, who's gonna waste it? Oh. So, you decided to start a one-man band, did you, Margo?
She owed me dough. I just wanted to collect, that's all.
Well, I warned you right from the start about starting up a book. Now what you've done is gone and botched it up for the rest of us. The screws are going to be watching her like hawks.
Can't you ever forget about getting even for once? Look, you're the ones that made the deal with Reynolds, right? And you're the ones who knew that the work release would get stopped if you got caught, so why blame Kay?
Because she lagged to draw attention away from the fact that she was ripping Reynolds off.
You don't know that for sure.
What's your stake in this?
Well, when I was going to make a run for it, she got me a dress. She tried to help me, that's all.
Well, you can bet there was a reason for that too, don't you worry. But if you feel you owe her, well, that is your problem. Just stay out of our way. Now, we're not going to be able to get her while she's in isolation, which leaves us with the problem of getting her out of there.
Oh, sure. Break her out, I suppose.
We've done harder things.
I told you to clean that up.
With what?
You're very good at thinking for yourself on the outside. Surely 24 hours in here can't have changed that. You've missed some. Ever since you arrived, you've been in isolation. Yet Gaffney seems to think you owe her money. Perhaps there was more going on at the factory than the governor was aware of. Get a move on, Bryant. Well?
Well, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, let go of me! Don't you ever lay a hand on an officer again.
I want to see the social worker, please.
You saw her this morning.
I need to see her again.
What for?
She got a solicitor for me. He suggested I see a psychiatrist. I want her to arrange it.
At least you admit you need help.
I don't admit anything, but it's not helping being in here.
It's for your own protection.
You stay in here, you hear? You stay in isolation. You stay here no matter what.
Get moving, Bryant.
You have been warned on several occasions that any abuse of this work release would end in its cancellation. Now, some of you seem to think that Kay White is largely responsible. In case I didn't make myself clear before, I acted on a report given to me by one of the officers. Any further persecution of this woman will stop as of now. She has already been placed under unnecessary pressure by some of you, and I assure you it will achieve nothing. I know how important this program was to you. It meant a great deal to all of us. However, any further rehabilitation programs will be kept within the prison.
What rehabilitation program?
Mrs. Davidson's been more than fair, Smith. As far as she's concerned, the matter is forgotten. And from now on, there'll be more variation in routine.
Oh, I suppose we get up at 5 o'clock now instead of 6, do we?
It may interest you to know that H Block is having a barbecue this evening.
Whoopee!
Now, if it's a success, it could become a once-a-week event, and the rest of the prison will be included. But it's entirely up to you.
Mrs. Jackson, can I lie down for a bit? I'm feeling a bit crook.
Have you been to dispensary?
I'm just tired, run down.
Come along with me.
You see, old Davo's okay. She's going to give us a barbecue. Yeah, I wonder why. Keep us happy little Vegemites and we'll be all love and forgiveness.
Oh, for crying out loud, don't you ever let up?
I am just stop buying what Davo has to sell, that's all.
Now, look, what she said about pressuring Kay, she's right. You push that girl too far and she's going to go right over the edge.
Yeah. Oh, you're probably right, Judy. We should forget what happened.
You don't mean that.
No, I mean, really. Why don't we just extend the hand of friendship? And I reckon you should make the offer.
Well, all right. But only if you promise me that you'll give her a good chance at clearing her name. Otherwise, no deal.
Yeah, sure.
You'll have to wait until the morning.
Oh, isn't there someone else I
Look,
can...
one more day is not going to make any difference. Mrs. Davidson, wait here. Miss Forster's gone home for the day.
Oh, is it anything important?
White says she wants to see a psychiatrist, although it could be just a trick to help her at her trial.
Well, as a matter of fact, Dr. Weissman will be here this afternoon anyway.
What about Miss Forster? Surely you can't ignore all this. Ever since she's come here, she's done nothing but sip cups of tea. She's inefficient, and she hasn't locked the door to her office.
Well, I'll speak to her tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I've arranged for some of the women to have a barbecue this evening, weather permitting. I don't think a little relaxation will do them any harm at this stage.
But they've broken every rule in the
Miss Bennett,
book.
in case you haven't noticed, there's a lot of ill feeling at the moment. I'm trying to avoid a situation getting completely out of hand.
Yes. I suppose you can't really afford any more trouble with the department.
Thank you for your support, Miss Bennett. Come in.
Bryant to see you, Mrs. Davidson. Stand there, Bryant.
The women took a vote on who should speak to you on their behalf. I won.
Oh, they usually leave that to Smith.
Oh, yeah, well, they probably thought you'd only listen to someone who wasn't on the work duty when it got stopped.
All right, I'm listening.
Well, we've been chewing over what you'd said to us, and we think we probably were a bit hasty in blaming Kay. You know, it's just hard for them to face the facts, I guess. They're thinking they blew it themselves.
Yes, go on.
Well, we were hoping that you might give us another chance to square things with Kay. You know, if that's all right. Show her that everything's okay. We hoped you might let her go along to the barbecue. Well, it's better than being stuck in isolation all day, isn't it? I ought to know that. I just came from there.
Oh, thank you, Bryant. I'll think about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Fletcher,
Wait outside, Bryant.
what do you think?
Well, I don't know. They could be genuine.
I'm just wondering why Smith couldn't tell me that herself.
She probably wouldn't like to admit that she made a mistake. And the other women look up to Bryant.
They probably wouldn't harm her while the other officers are there, and it could be a good opportunity to see just how genuine they are.
Of course, I never did believe in them psychiatric blokes. Dore went to one once. Fat lot of good it did her. Spent 2 weeks in a funny farm. I reckon if you can't sort yourself out, well, who's gonna help you? What do you reckon, Mr. Fletcher?
What?
I mean, you had a problem once, remember? You couldn't stand the sight of blood. But he got over it all by himself.
Just get on with your work, will you, Birdsworth?
Lizzie, there'll be an extra one for tea. Have you got enough to go around?
Oh, plenty. Well, does that mean that Kay's going to be joining us?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, beaut, isn't it, Margo?
Yeah.
Poor little mite. We got such a lot to make up to her for. Haven't we, Margo?
I hope Mrs. Davidson knows what she's doing.
Well, she can't keep White in isolation forever.
Jude must have laid it on thick.
Which is what I'm going to do when I get my hands on that little mole.
You heard B. Nobody's to do nothing until she says.
Want to take a break for a while?
Yeah, thanks. I could use one.
Sorry, Mrs. Jackson.
All right. Clean it up.
Will you give it a rest?
Anyway, what's that gonna prove? Sergeant showing the screws they can never take our word for anything again.
Listen, all's going to happen at the barbecue is that she's going to be greeted like a long-lost sister. Anyone would think we was getting a visit from the Queen. We even had to make out we were putting down the red carpet.
Yeah, well, let's not go overboard. Just nice and friendly will do.
You all right, Dore?
I'm trying to sleep.
Oh, come on, love. You better put on something warm in case it turns cold.
I'm not going.
All right, Doreen, enough's enough. You are going to eat about to force it down your throat.
I feel sick.
Listen, you stupid little idiot. I'm not having you starving and winding up with a tube in your arm.
Yeah, B's right, you know. Anyway, what's wrong with a few pounds, eh?
You don't want to end up looking like a scarecrow like me, do?
Look
It's not putting on a few pounds that's worrying me. I'm bloody scared to death because I'm pregnant.
Then why are you looking as if your throat's been cut?
Oh, that's fantastic, honey.
Oh, you're gonna be a mother. Oh, why didn't you tell us, for God's sake? Everyone gets morning sickness.
Yeah, and that doesn't last long. One more reason why you have to keep up your strength.
Hey, that day out with Kev sure did the trick, didn't it?
It's not Kevin's. Can't be. It isn't his. Of course I'm sure. I've been pregnant before. I know what it's like. I've checked the dates. And it can't be Kevin's. It's got to be that Vince Talbot creeps.
Bastard. Wish I'd kill him when I had the chance.
Yeah. What am I going to do? Kevin and me want to have our own kids. How can I tell him I've got someone else's inside of me?
The rotten mongrel. It's not your fault, love. He forced you into it. Nobody's gonna blame you.
If only he'd said something the first time he tried it.
How could I? He would have stopped the work release and none of you were around to help me.
Judy was there.
Not in the storeroom, she wasn't. Not when he... Oh, I was too scared.
Okay, there's no point going over all that. It's too late now.
Yeah, well, I know what I'd like to do to him. Just 1 minute alone with that guy, that's all I'd need.
Yeah, we're not going to get that chance now, though, are we? Thanks to your friend, Kay White.
Now, why blame Kay? It's Vince Talbot we should be tearing to pieces.
We could report him. We could get him stuck into jail.
Oh, sure. They're going to listen to a pack of criminals, aren't they? The same way that they listened to us telling them who killed Sharon.
I don't want anyone else to know. Please, B.
I promise you this much, Doreen. No man is going to get away with what he did to you. I don't know how, or when, or where. But he is going to pay.
What good does it do to go into my background? I've already told you I come from a boring middle-class family with not so much as a parking ticket between the lot of them. It's now we ought to be talking about. Look, do you think I would have taken that money back if I was a criminal?
I take it you saw it as a loan.
I had a winner. I knew it. I could feel it. You don't turn your back on that sort of feeling.
What would have happened if it hadn't won?
I just told you. I knew it was a winner.
Yes, but you were juggling the books at the factory for some time prior to that. Didn't you see that as a crime?
No, I never intended keeping the money. Look, all I needed was one good win. I was close. I could feel it. Just one to come home at, say, 20 to 1 with 5,000 riding on it. I'd have had it made.
In what way? Wealth or pay back your gambling debts?
I'd have won.
Is there a history of gambling in your family?
No. My father was a bank manager. You know how tight they are with money. The biggest bet he ever had was 50 cents each way on the Melbourne Cup.
Do you think he was overly careful with his money?
No. They were always giving me presents, especially if I did well at school. And I did. The more successful I was, the more they boasted.
Oh, wasn't that a worry to you? You know, trying to live up to a certain standard?
Of course not. I loved it. The best at everything. There's no feeling quite like it.
You must have had a lot of friends.
People looked up to me. Ever played the poker machines?
Oh, once or twice.
You put a little money in, and it pays out. Well, just a little at first, but you're hooked. Then you put some more money in, and it doesn't pay out. And then it's between you and that machine. You've got to beat it, get that jackpot. Then you're a winner.
What happens if you do win the jackpot, Kay, or your horse comes in? Do you think you could stop?
Once you win, there's nowhere else to go.
Oh, you could always go on trying to win. You know, break the bank.
I could stop. I could do anything if I wanted to. But that's what you're here for, isn't it? To help me.
Well, I've got as many doubts about this barbecue as you do, Vera. But at least we should see if the idea works before we knock it on the head.
You know why she's doing this? She's panicking because she knows if there's one more incident, they'll see how incompetent she really is. So what is she doing? She's pandering to the prisoners to keep them quiet. And they'll use her, don't you worry about that, which will make our job that much harder.
Vera, if I hear one more word against Mrs. Davidson, so help me, I might just put in a report of my own.
You must see what's happening. Wentworth is getting slacker by the minute.
All I see is a woman under a lot of strain, trying to do a good job and getting absolutely no support from some of the senior members of her staff.
She is under no more strain than we are. Unless, of course, you're talking about personal pressures.
Well, you two knock it off. I'm getting sick and tired of the infighting that's going on around this place. As senior members of staff, we have a right to express doubts about certain decisions that are made. But I agree with you, it should be done out in the open and not behind anybody's back. Why women can't discuss things calmly is beyond me. Now, if you two ladies will excuse me, I've got work to do.
He should be working in a men's prison. He hasn't got the first idea about women.
Dr. Wiseman should be finished with White by now. I better go and get her.
Come and get it.
Oh, yeah. Bloody rain.
Nearly starved to death here, I bet.
Just don't want to treat her like any other newcomer. Mind you, an apology or two wouldn't go astray, seeing as how we've done her wrong. But no grudges, no nothing. I want her out of isolation. Feeling better?
Tastes real good.
Good on you, love. You've got to eat.
Shame it was raining. It would have been good to have the barbie outside.
Think yourself lucky old Dave let us have it at all.
You know, Lizzie, Margo.
Good day, love. I'm glad they let you out, even if it's only for tea. I reckon we got you to thank for all this.
Reckon we got off on the wrong foot. No hard feelings, huh?
All right. Hi. Welcome to the indoor Barbie, doll.
I read in the papers about how you got caught.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't if I hadn't tried to give the money back.
Some people got no gratitude.
So far, so good.
A little bit too friendly, if you ask me.
You should feel right at home here. Just moved from one factory to the next.
What happened?
It's a hamburger.
Pick it up, Birdsworth.
Miss Bennett has taken her to dispensary. I don't think it's too bad.
It seems I misjudged you, Bryant. I shall certainly think twice before taking your word for anything again.
I swear to you that none of us knew there was anything in that, Mrs. Davidson.
You two were responsible for preparing the meal.
The last time I was accused of putting something in me cooking, I got 20 years. I was innocent then, too.
Gaffney broke a glass when I was in the kitchen, Mrs. Davidson.
Must have fallen in accidentally.
You will be confined to your cell for 24 hours.
But
Be quiet. As you were all obviously responsible, you can tell the others there will be no more barbecues. And that is final. You may go.
Wait in the corridor. I take it White will have to stay in isolation.
No matter what I decide, it always seems to be the wrong decision.
Look, why don't you go home early? You look very tired.
I have too much work to do.
Can wait.
I'm not seeing Andrew again. I had to make a decision. Another decision.
This must be quite a blow to your pride. One minute they think you're so important, the next minute they turn on you. Then you're not much use to them anymore, are you?
It was fun while it lasted.
You think you're so smart, White. But what's so clever about joining forces with a bunch of criminals? Or is it just a game to you?
Actually, you're right. It wasn't that much fun. You see, it was so easy to con you.
There's no sport involved when you're dealing with officers with an average IQ of below 0.
This letter arrived for White at the front gate. She may as well have it now. I've already censored it.
Thank you. You got a letter. Regulations state that all mail must be censored by an officer. It's from the foreman at the factory, Talbot. Very interesting. He says you owe him $250. You must have made quite a group. You embezzling the company, Reynolds' fraudulent behavior, and Talbot. This letter speaks for itself.
He's a pig.
Mrs. Davidson's usually very good at assessing people. I'm amazed she wasn't onto the type she was dealing with sooner. You were Reynolds' assistant. Was he just out to use Mrs. Davidson's position, or didn't she care?
I'll tell you something that'll really interest you, Miss Bennett. I wouldn't give you the time of day if you begged for it.
You owe that man nothing. He was the one that got you arrested.
Now, don't get me wrong. I can't stand him. But you're the vilest thing I've ever met.
I'm not making any promises, Erica, but I don't want our relationship to be just a business association. I want to get to know you, to be with you. And I don't want to run or hide from something that I haven't felt in years.
Neither do I.
My work is my whole life. I couldn't be happy without it.
Hey, Doreen. You all right, love?
Yeah.
Here.
Thanks, B.
Let me do that.
I hate it, B. I hate knowing that what's inside of me is that man's.
It's half yours too, love.
Yeah. I keep trying to pretend that it's all mine. But I keep seeing Talbot. And it should be Kevin's.
Hey, what's the matter?
Nothing, Lizzie. Go back to sleep.
I keep going over it and over it, you know. And I reckon that I could probably tell Kevin that it's his and, well, after it's
What
born...
good would that do if you're going to hate it so much? Look, there's nothing worse than having a kid you don't want, Doreen. If you decide to go through with this, you've got to love it while it's in you and when it's born. You're not going to fool Kevin. And you're just going to make a little kid's life a misery.
Are you telling her to get rid of it?
I'm trying to help her face facts, Lizzie, and lying's not going to help anyone.
Oh, you've always loved kids, Dor. They took away your first one. You're not going to lose your second one. You'll learn to love her, you see. And it doesn't matter whose it is.
It does if she can't cope with it. Look, Dor's young. Got a whole tribe of kids ahead of you. Ones you and Kevin want.
Well, what would you do if you was me, B?
I'm not you, love. I'm never going to be able to have any more kids. As if I could. Wouldn't matter who the father was.
I keep trying to forget what he did to me, you know. I was doing real good, too. But this is going to keep reminding me of him.
Can I see Dr. Weissman again today, please?
He's not due back for a couple of days, but if you wish to see him sooner...
If you ask me, they should all see him. They're all killers, and you're not doing a thing to stop them.
Gaffney's been punished for what she did. And as far as we can tell, no one else had anything to do with what happened yesterday.
Oh, I had nothing to do with their stupid work release being cancelled. I'm going mad in here.
It's only a temporary precaution.
Look, we're allowed a phone call a week, aren't we?
Yes. Who do you want to call?
Vince Talbot. He's the foreman at the...
I know him. You can call him after breakfast. Hurry up, Bryant.
You listen, while you're talking to that son of a bitch, you can give him a message from me. We're going to get him, no matter how long it takes.
Bryant!
Come in.
Kay White wants to see you. She says it's important.
All right, bring her in.
What?
If I don't get out of isolation today, I'm going to tell my solicitor you're treating me unfairly.
Don't you ever come into my office making demands like that again, do you hear me? You are in there, White, for your own protection, and you will stay there until I think it's safe for you to mix with the others.
Oh, they're not going to hurt me anymore.
You've certainly changed your tune since this morning.
It was something Judy mentioned. Look, I know they've forgotten all about me. Give me 5 minutes alone with them and I'll prove it to you. Well, if I believe them, why don't you?
Because whilst you are in here, you are our responsibility.
Then you are responsible for driving me insane by keeping me locked up in isolation.
Wait outside.
Hello, dear. I believe you wanted to see me.
Yes, a little bit later on, if that's all right.
Of course, any time. My door is always open. Now, what did you want to see me about, dear?
1 minute, please, Miss Forster. I don't like keeping her in there, but I still have my doubts.
Well, it might do her more harm being confined. And we can still keep an eye on her.
A girl like that needs company. Someone to talk to.
All right, Mrs. Jackson. She seems to trust Bryant. She can move in with her.
Well, I'm glad we sorted all that out.
Miss Forster, I've noticed you haven't been spending very much time in the prison.
Oh, as much as is necessary, dear. I don't see any point in sticking around a stuffy old office all day when there's nothing much to do.
Well, I have found, as I am sure you have, that quite a lot of the women are rather reticent in seeking help. Perhaps if you went through their files, you could talk to them about their problems.
Oh, I'm always there to listen, I assure you.
Not always.
I hope you're not questioning my work.
I know you have a very good reputation to live up to.
One of the best.
And as you only have 1 more year to go before retirement, it would be a pity to spoil it.
Thanks, Mrs. Jackson. I'll be all right.
A word of advice. If there are any more incidents involving injury to White, no matter how accidental, you will all be held responsible.
Oh, you got us all wrong, Mrs. J. That was Margo's fight. Had nothing to do with us. We'll take care of her.
She'll be moving in with you, Judy. I'll leave it to you to see she stays out of trouble.
Either you are very stupid or you like to live dangerously.
Look, I helped you all at the factory, didn't I? And now I think I can help you again.
I wouldn't trust you if you're on your deathbed.
You've taken a sudden dislike to Vince Talbot. Why, what's he done?
It's none of your business.
Yeah, we hear you and him are good friends.
No, you got it all wrong. I can't stand him any more than you can, which is where I think I can help. I'll make a deal with you. You let me go my own way, and I'll hand you Talbot on a silver platter.
Ladies, we are going to get ourselves a bastard.
Who is it?
Mrs. Jackson's given White permission to use the phone.
Oh, you go right ahead, dear. Thank you, Miss Bennett. I'm quite capable of supervising, and I'm sure you're terribly busy at the moment. Anything wrong, dear?
Man, I have to ring. He makes me nervous.
What man?
Well, I owe him some money. He's threatened to testify against me in court if I don't pay him.
But that's extortion. He should be reported to the police.
Oh, he'd only deny it. No, I've got to try and convince him to wait until I can earn some money. Miss Forster, I wonder if I could ask you a favor?
That's what I'm here for, to help at any time. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, I want to see this man, but not in front of an officer. It would be much better if I could see him in here with you.
Leave everything to me. I'll arrange it.
Oh, thank you.
What happened about the little chat with Dr.
Weissman?
Yes, that's him. What happened?
It was only my first session.
In my day, of course, we didn't have such a thing. Because I'm a great believer in a good heart-to-heart, a bit of genuine caring, and you can sort out most of your troubles.
Well, my solicitor thought it would help me if I accepted treatment.
Well, then, you're halfway there.
Oh, hello. May I speak to Vince Talbot, please? Oh, can you find him? It's urgent.
Yeah, Reynolds' office, Talbot speaking. Look, there's nothing to talk about. Either you pay me that $2.50 you owe me, or else I'll get on that stand and I'll tear you to ribbons.
Please, Vince. I promise I'll get you the money, but you'll have to come and see me this afternoon.
I just can't take time off like that.
Well, you won't get the money then. That's right. 3:30 will be fine.
It's bad enough we're in here, but it doesn't end there. Oh, no. I mean, when we're let out, we're persecuted, we're terrorised. Look what happened to Doreen. She's let out in a work release program. Big deal. They're doing us a favour. And what happens? She gets raped. And you know why she gets raped?
Yeah. Because if she didn't go along with what Talbot said, he would have stopped the work release. Oh, it was all good, clean fun, wasn't it? After all she was a woman prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
But you tried getting back him at the factory, Bee.
There wasn't enough time to teach him a real lesson.
Yeah, well, by the time we've finished with him, he won't be able to look at another woman. No point.
Bad news?
Yeah, little Josie's going to have her operation soon, probably at the end of this week. Ellen's been too flat out organising doctors and stuff to come over here and tell me.
Don't worry, love. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
Well?
3:30, like you wanted.
It's going to be the first exercise period I've enjoyed for some time. Oh, come on, Phil, put some life in it. You're as slow as a wet week.
I'm saving me strength for the game. I'll take Doreen.
I gotta see her before the operation, Dor, just for a couple of hours, that's all. Well, why don't you ask that new social worker to arrange it? Because Mr. Reed used to do that for us.
And what Kay reckons, I might as well wrangle a holiday on Surfers Paradise.
Don't give the game away. Make him feel welcome, for God's sake.
Hiya, handsome. How you going?
You'll be sorry you set foot in here, Talbot.
If it wasn't for Miss Forster's help here, I wouldn't even have a solicitor.
You told me you were going to pay me now.
Oh, I know. I had to tell you that so you'd come. You wouldn't let me explain over the phone. But look, after my trial, I'll get a job and I'll have the money to you within a couple of weeks.
You're a liar.
Will you keep a civil tongue in your head, Mr. Talbot?
Vince, please. I am sick, but I'm getting treatment. And when I'm better...
Sick be damned. You're a thief, that's what you are.
I won't tell you again, Mr. Talbot.
You're not getting away with this. I'm warning you. If I don't clap eyes on that $250 before your trial, I'll see to it that your name is mud.
I'm glad you said that in front of me, Mr. Talbot. I'm sure the police would be more than interested to learn that you threatened to slouch your testimony for money. Now, they mightn't take Kay's word for it, but they'll certainly take mine.
Say you just fell over. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself inside for rape.
Let go! Stop! What on earth? Miss Meadows? Could you get this lot inside?
Inside.
Smith! Bryant!
What good's it doing asking me? Bloke's walking along, minding his own business, and all of a sudden he gets flattened by a pack of women. What are you running here, a madhouse?
Prior to your attack, I was informed by Miss Forster that you threatened one of the inmates, Kay White.
What's that got to do with me almost getting murdered?
I am trying to establish a reason for the assault. The women claim you were accidentally knocked over during a game of volleyball.
Oh, come on, look. You were there. She doesn't believe me. You tell her what happened.
Officer Meadows and I were trying to break up a fight amongst some of the women. I did see Mr. Talbot on the ground, but I didn't see anyone hit him.
Oh, bloody hell.
Mr. Talbot, if what you say is true, I will punish the women involved. For instance, can you think of any reason why this should happen? Was there anything you said or did whilst they were working at the factory?
Isn't my word good enough for you?
When an accusation like this is made, I have to have proof, or at least a motive.
All right, look, forget it. It was just an accident. I tripped and fell over. Is that okay? Does that keep your precious record straight?
I am just trying to find out.
Look, forget it.
Then I suggest you don't visit Wentworth again.
Oh, lady, it'll be a pleasure.
For some reason, Mr. Talbot decided not to press charges. However, I am not at all convinced that it was an accident. Should I ever discover that the incident was deliberate and premeditated, suitable punishment will be arranged. One day, you might not be quite so lucky.
Excuse me, Mrs. Jackson. Can I go and see Miss Forster for a minute? It's very urgent.
All right, Lizzie, but it's Miss Forster.
Oh, I'm always getting me P's and bros mixed up.
I'm surprised you're in such good humour. Or maybe you find something else amusing?
Did it, we did it!
Yeah, here's to good old justice.
So long as the governor doesn't find out.
And who's going to lag,
No one. But as I see it, I did the groundwork. I thought up the idea. Therefore, I should be paid for services rendered.
You were paid when we said we'd lay off you.
No, that's not good enough.
Oh, yes, it is, sweetie. So just shut up before I change my mind.
I reckon anyone who loves animals must be a real decent sort.
I couldn't agree with you more, Elizabeth.
I had a cat once and a dog, but one dropped dead on me and the other one got taken away.
Oh, how dreadful for you.
Yeah, everything that I've ever loved has always something happened to it.
Oh, it's tragic when one loses an animal. They're like one of the family.
True. You never know what's just around the corner. Take my little granddaughter, for instance. 1 minute, right as rain, and the next, just when she needed me most, I'm not there.
Elizabeth, you leave everything to me. I'll make sure you see Josie before her operation. And I'll just take this letter here to get the details.
Oh, I knew you'd sort it out. You got real heart, Miss Forster.
Forster.
Oh, yeah. And thanks for the cuppa. That's what I'll really miss in this place, a cup of afternoon tea and a real natter.
Well, Butchie, another job well done. Now, just one little drink before we go home. Come on, Butchie. Butchie, Butchie, Butchie. Butchie, Butchie. Oh.
She's real understanding, Dor. I reckon if you was to talk to her, she'd tell you what to do. Them social workers know it all.
The only ones who can decide anything are Doreen and Kevin.
Well, I'm going to tell him the truth, Lizzie.
Oh, it'll be all right. He's always stuck by you before.
Yeah, Judy doesn't reckon I should, though.
Listen, all I said is that some men are funny about rape.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah, well, you probably know him better than me.
Look, he'll understand. All I have to say is that I got pregnant because I was raped. I don't have to go into the details.
Oh, brother.
You got to expect a few questions, love.
Well, what if he doesn't understand? What if he leaves me?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson, but I thought you'd want to hear this immediately.
It's about the attack on Vince Talbot. It wasn't an accident. It was deliberate.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside the roses grow, they don't mind the stony ground, but the roses here are prisoners too when morning comes around.